Check out my new books, now available on Amazon. These are fictional stories like the New Testament, but these are amazing books and very exciting to read. Go and pick them up on Amazon. Shalom Barakatah. This is High Priest called Halal Love the Law. Back with another video lesson, giving all praises, honor, and glory to the Most High God, Yahweh Akah, Yahweh alone, Yahweh only. No Bahashem. Understand that? All right. Now, the title of today's video lesson is JC and the New Testament. It's typology. Now, what is typology? If we ask Google, and we have to be careful with Google because Google is owned by Lucifer's chosen people, the Edomites, so-called white people, and we know that they are liars, they are deceivers, they invented fake news, they mix truth with error like the serpent. So yeah, Google have some truth and Google have some lies, okay? But if we ask Google, mainstream media, mainstream scholars would say typology is a foreshadowing of JC in the Old Testament. But what typology really is, typology is Edomite New Testament writers making JC a greater type of a Hebrew figure. Typology is New Testament writers stealing traits from Old Testament figures to build their fictional character JC with, so JC can resonate with Israelite readers, and Israelites can be comfortable and warm up to JC because he will be a type of figure by traits that they have already accepted in the Hebrew Bible. That's typology theology. All right. Now, first, let's show where typology, plagiarism, and replacement theology goes wrong. We're here in the book of witchcraft, the New Testament, Matthew chapter 2, verse 15. And it reads, "And was there until the death of Herod, that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken of the Lord by the prophet, saying, out of Egypt have I called my son." So this anonymous writer, writing under the pen name Matthew, right, and writing originally in Greek, is saying that JC, the fictional character, is fulfilling a prophecy of the prophet Hosea. And in the New Testament Bible, it leaves a footnote referencing Hosea 11, verse 1. So let's go and check those sources. Hosea chapter 11, verse 1. And we will find out that this is not a prophecy at all. Hosea chapter 11, verse 1. "When Israel was a child, then I loved him and called my son out of Egypt." Okay. The prophet Hosea was referring to an event that had already happened, the Exodus story, not a future prophecy. Okay. This is where typology, plagiarism, and replacement theology goes wrong. This is just one of many errors that the New Testament writers make. It's plenty of felonious corruptions in the New Testament. All right. So let's get off into this typology. Let's get off into JC is a type of Moses. Okay. Let's go to Exodus 1. Exodus chapter 1 and 15. Okay. Moses and JC both hidden from evil kings. And both of these evil kings, the king of Egypt, Pharaoh, and King Herod with JC, they are both killing Hebrew male childs, Hebrew boys. Okay. Here with Moses, Exodus chapter 1, verse 15. And the king of Egypt spake to the Hebrew midwives, of which the name of the one was Shiphrah, and the name of the other Puah. And he said, when ye do the office of a midwife to the Hebrew women, and see them upon the stools, if it be a son, then ye shall kill him. But if it be a daughter, then she shall live. Right? Now let's go to Matthew 2. Matthew 2 and 13. Matthew chapter 2, verse 13. And when they were departed, behold, the angel of the Lord appeareth to Joseph in a dream, saying, arise and take the young child and his mother and flee into Egypt, and be thou there until I bring thee word, for Herod will seek the young child to destroy him. Right? So if you know the gospel story, that's what happens. Matthew chapter 2, verse 16. Then Herod, when he saw that he was mocked of the wise men, was exceeding wroth, and sent forth and slew all the children that were in Bethlehem, and in all the coasts thereof, from 2 years old and under, according to the time which he had diligently inquired of the wise men. So you see the typology there? Both kings, the king of Egypt and King Herod, are killing Hebrew children. And Moses is being hidden in a basket in Egypt. JC is a child being hidden in Egypt, and they are both hiding from these evil kings that are killing children. So now JC becomes a type of Moses, right? Now, let's go back to Exodus and further prove it. Let's go to Exodus chapter 2, verse 15. And now we're going to see that both Moses and JC both saved or helped a woman at a well. Okay. Exodus chapter 2, verse 15. Now when Pharaoh heard this thing, he sought to slay Moses. But Moses fled from the face of Pharaoh and dwelt in the land of Midian. And he sat down by a well. Now, the priest of Midian had 7 daughters, and they came and drew water and filled the troughs to water their father's flock. And the shepherds came and drove them away. But Moses stood up and helped them and watered their flock. And when they came to Reuel, their father, he said, "How is it that ye are come so soon today?" And they said, "An Egyptian delivered us out of the hand of the shepherds, and also drew water enough for us and watered the flock." Okay. Now we're going to go and see where JC helps a woman at a well. We're going to go to John chapter 4, verse 6. In the New Testament, the book of John, chapter 4, verse 6. Now Jacob's well was there. JC, therefore, being wearied with his journey, sat thus on the well, and it was about the 6th hour. And there cometh a woman of Samaria to draw water. JC saith unto her, "Give me to drink." Okay, and this is kind of long. So what we would do is just go down to verse 39. And it says, "And many of the Samaritans of the city, and many of the Samaritans of that city, Salakia, believed on him for the saying of the woman, which testified, he told me all that I ever did." Right? So they both helped women at wells. Right? When we go back here, let's go back here to Exodus chapter 2, verse 19. We see that Moses is mistaken for an Egyptian, right? Exodus chapter 2, verse 19. And they said, "An Egyptian delivered us out of the hand of the shepherds." Right? But he was an Israelite, but he was mistaken as an Egyptian, right? And we see that Paul is mistaken as an Egyptian. Let's go to Acts 21 and 38. Acts 21 and 38 in the New Testament. It reads, "Are not thou that Egyptian, which before these days made an uproar and led out into the wilderness 4,000 men that were murderers?" Okay, so we see Moses was mistaken for an Egyptian. Now we see Paul was mistaken for an Egyptian. This is typology, and the New Testament writers, they purposely write like this. They resemble the gospel to stories in the Old Testament to play on your subconscious, right? Because this is psychological warfare. This is spiritual warfare. These Edomites are smart. You may not know it, but subconsciously, you're picking up on it and you're saying subconsciously, this is familiar to me. I have already accepted this. So now you're more likely to believe it and accept it. These Edomites are smart, man. This is called typology. Typology theology. Now, Paul becomes a type of Moses. Moses was mistaken for an Egyptian. Paul was mistaken for an Egyptian. Moses led the Israelites empowered by the Most High God. Paul is leading the Christians empowered by JC. On the flip side, JC becomes a type of the Most High God. Get it? This is typology. Very crafty from the serpent himself. Right? Now, let's go to Acts 13 and 9. This is Acts 13 and 9. Then Saul, who also was called Paul. So before Paul changed his name, he was Saul, and he persecuted Christians. And in doing so, he was persecuting JC, right? Just like King Saul in the Old Testament persecuted David. So now Paul is a type of Saul. You get it? Paul is a type of King Saul. Because before Paul changed his name, he was persecuting the Christians as Saul. And in doing so, he was persecuting JC because JC appeared to him like, why are you persecuting me? He was killing Christians, right? So this is typology. Saul of Tarsus, Paul, becomes a type of King Saul that was persecuting King David in the Old Testament. You get it? This is typology. And as an eye-opener, you have to recognize Saul is a Hebrew name. But when this Saul of Tarsus, when he was converted to serve JC, he changed his name from a Hebrew name to a Latin name. Latin is a Edomite language. So he changed his name from a Hebrew name, which was Saul, to an Edomite Latin name, Paul. Paul is Latin. Now, why is that? He go from Hebrew to pagan. That's because this was originally written by pagans, by Gentiles. Okay, and JC is the Gentiles' God. That's why when he converted to serve JC, he changed his name from a Hebrew name, Saul, to a Latin Edomite name, Paul. Okay? Now let's go and get some more of these these types. Let's go get some more of this typology, right? Let's go back to Exodus. Exodus 14 and 21. We're going to have to make a part 2 of this because it's all over the scriptures. Exodus 14 and 21. And we're going to be seeing that JC is a type of Moses. But of course, they try to make JC like better than Moses. Like he's always the greater type. But you still can see the resemblance, right? Okay, so we're going to be seeing how Moses walked through water and JC walks on water. Exodus chapter 14, verse 21. And Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and Yahweh caused the sea to go back by a strong east wind all that night, and made the sea dry land, and the waters were divided. And the children of Israel went into the midst of the sea upon the dry ground, and the waters were a wall unto them on their right hand and on their left. So Moses walked through water. JC walks on water. Now we go to Matthew 14 and 25. Matthew 14 and 25. And they're both even in chapter 14. Matthew chapter 14, verse 25. And in the fourth watch of the night, JC went unto them walking on the sea. And when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were troubled, saying, It is a spirit. And they cried out for fear. But straightway JC spake unto them, saying, Be of good cheer. It is I. Be not afraid. So he was literally walking on water. And y'all say this is just a man? He was literally walking on water, right? But let's go back and get another one. Let's go to Exodus 34 and 28. So JC becomes a type of Moses to replace Moses. That's all it is. Typology and replacement theology. They attempt to give you a better Moses. That's what they are attempting to do. That's the plan and the plot in their mind. That's their nefarious plan. To give you a better Moses, a greater Moses, right? But this is all typology. JC becomes a type of Moses so that you can warm up to him and you can accept him because he will be familiar in his traits, right? Exodus 34 and 28. And we're going to see that both Moses and JC fast for 40 days. Exodus 34 and 28. And he was there with Yahweh 40 days and 40 nights. He did neither eat bread nor drink water. And he wrote upon the tables the words of the covenant, the 10 Commandments. Now, let's go and see that JC fasted 40 days. But Moses was with the Most High God, and JC is with the devil. Matthew chapter 4, verse 1. Then was JC led up of the Spirit into the wilderness. See, Moses was in the wilderness. Now he's being led in the wilderness to be tempted of the devil, right? The Most High God tempted and tested the Israelites in the wilderness. Now JC is being tempted and tested by the devil in the wilderness. This is typology. And when he had fasted 40 days and 40 nights, he was afterward and hungered. Right? There you have it. It's typology. Right? We're going to be coming back with a part 2. We're going to be coming back showing more typology. Okay? This is all typology, copycatting. All right? To play on your subconscious so that you're more likely to accept the story. All right? And we're giving all praises to the Most High God, Yahweh God.